Hi, welcome to my studio. So glad that you're here today. My name is Lisa Ingram and I love to do polymer clay projects with kids. Today we are going to do a Valentine's Day project and we're going to make some polymer clay heart canes. And so what you can do with a cane is you can make beads to make jewelry like this. So this made little heart beads, and I've got some right here too. These don't have their holes in them yet. They haven't been baked, but you can see they can come out different sizes, and they change just a little bit based on where they are in the cane. And if you haven't done a cane before, you'll learn today. And I'm still new at making canes. They are sort of challenging, so I'm excited to see how we do today. It's always an experiment and it's always fun to try new things and see how they turn out. So what you will need are 3 colors of polymer clay. I have purple, white, and pink that I've already rolled out. And then I have a rolling pin, but you can also use a pasta roller, a needle tool, and something to cut your clay. So go ahead and get your supplies and I'll meet you back here to start the project. Okay, now that you have your supplies, we will get started. So you are going to pick one color as a wrap to go around the exterior of your clay. So that's gonna be sort of like the black. I'm gonna switch up the design for this one a little bit. And then you'll need a color for your heart, and then a color in between the wrap and the heart. So this is like the filler. So I'm gonna start with the color for the heart. I have already conditioned my clay. And so what that means is I've squeezed it and massaged it. I even ran it through the pasta roller to help get it nice and soft for us to work with. If your clay is cracking, mine is cracking just a little bit, you can get some liquid polymer clay. Make sure I'm using the right thing. Yeah, that one's the liquid polymer clay. And you can put just a tiny bit on there and then work it in. I do have a video about how to condition your clay, and I use the pasta roller in that video, so you can go check that out if you need some more instructions for that. And so you just want to warm it up. I've heard of people putting the wrapped packages of polymer clay in their pocket to help them warm up, and then just squeeze it between your hands and that will start to get it nice and pliable for you to work with. You want it to be nice and soft, especially when we get to the part where we roll out our cane. Everything needs to be flexible, pliable, so that it'll stretch at an even rate. So work that for a little while. Pause the video if you need to, and if you do have a pasta roller, go ahead, feel free to use that. It is absolutely fine. And what we're gonna do is we're going to make a heart. So for this one, I had a heart cutter, and it was fairly large of a heart cutter, but it worked out okay. But I don't know where I put it. And I figure a lot of people don't have a heart cutter, so we are just going to make our very own heart. Don't forget, you want your surface to be nice and clean. So this does have a little bit of polymer clay on it, but it doesn't have like dirt and dust. So I'm gonna split my heart color clay into 2 pieces. And I'm gonna pick one, and I'll go ahead and just roll it into a ball. And then I'm going to make it into square. So I'm going to flatten the sides between my hands to square it. It'll really be like a rectangle. I can tap these ends down, but this is going to be the interior of our heart, and then we're gonna add half circles here. So I'm trying to make it as even as possible. And if you want to, you can take your rolling pin to help you. I'm trying a new table surface today. It's a little bit flexible. So I'm not sure if I am going to love it, if I'm gonna keep it, but it's nice. It's very cleanable. So I'm giving it a try today. So there is my square. Pretty even. Doesn't have to be a specific length. This one's probably about 1.5 inches. So there is the rectangle. So now here's the trick. We are going to make a cylinder. So this is gonna be a circle in the end, and we want it to be a specific size. So I'm gonna start with a ball, and then just like making a snake, I'm gonna roll it back and forth in my hands. I have extra clay in this color if I need it, if this is not coming to the same size. But what I want is for the diameter, so that means the whole width of the cylinder, of the circle, to be the same width as the side of my rectangle. So we will be able to check that in just a minute and see how we are doing. So you want it to be similar in size from end to end. And what we're gonna do is cut this in half and add it on here. So let's see how we are doing. When you hold them side by side, in the middle, my fingers are telling me that the diameter of this cylinder is very similar to my rectangle. And I kind of got lucky because the length is similar too. It's okay, if one's longer than the other, it's okay. We're just going to trim it. The issue that I noticed is that it's just a little bit thinner on the end. So I'm just going to compress on each end and then squeeze the middle to try and even that out. You can roll it on your table as well. Just want to try and keep it similar. So let's see, those are about the same length and they're about the same width. Okay, so that's good. Pause your video, add clay if you need to, just do what you need to do to make it work. So now we are going to cut it. So we want to cut it down the middle. We can use anything that's fairly sharp and give it a little mark, and I can tell that I'm a little bit off. So I'm gonna tap that back and try again on the other side. Let's see. That one looks a little bit more spot on. So the thing is, you don't want to change the shape of your piece as you cut it. And so it can change, it can shift as you cut into it. So we can always shift it back, but I'm just trying to be really supportive of my shape. I don't want it to get stuck on this tool like it's trying to do. So I'll peel that away, and I'm just wiggling it through and watching the base to try to make sure that I do come out pretty even. And then I can take it off, and if you see where I'm going, these are going to go on here to create the heart shape. So I'm going to elongate this just a little bit, because as I was cutting, it just sort of just thickened up a little bit. So just going to go ahead and place that on one side of the square. Polymer clay is so great in that it will change shapes for you. And I just tried to place it as close to the piece without trapping any air, and having nice flat edges helps with that. And I'm gonna roll this. These rollers are really nice, but you can use a marker, you can use a pen, you can tap it on your tabletop. So anything to help blend those seams will help this make like a really nice blend here. In clay, we use score and slip, but we don't do that in polymer clay. We just give it really gentle pressure. If you give it so much pressure, more than it can stand, it's gonna change shapes. and we don't want that. We want it to stay the shape that we told it to be. So hopefully these are gonna blend pretty well. You can just take your time and get that blended together. Okay, so I've got it blended together pretty well. I don't want to take too much time to worry about the ends because those are gonna get cut off anyhow. And then I'll take the other half of my circle, my cylinder, and I'm going to add it to the other side of the square. So you see how our heart is coming along? So I'll line that up. I pre-shaped it just a little bit to make sure it was the same length. And now we're going to blend. So we want to be careful now that we've already got half of that circle on there, not to disrupt what we already did. So like I said, it's just a really gentle touch. You can roll with your roller. You can tap on the table and smooth with your finger. If this crease starts to disappear, this is one of the most defining parts of our heart. You want to take a long skinny tool and just pass it through there to help reshape and define that. So you definitely don't want to lose that part of the design. So again, don't worry too much about the ends. It's really this part that you want to make sure is blended together really, really well. So I'm gonna pause my recording and do my blending, and you can do the same. Okay, well, I've got that mostly blended. And so the next step is we want to define the base of this heart. So I'm just going to take the roller again and roll it on the edges, the sides of the heart, just to get that nice point on the bottom. And that will help compress everything together and hopefully get out any air bubbles that are in there. And I can see my shape is sort of changing from one side to the other. So just trying to stretch that to make it fairly even. And then, like I said, we want to be careful to keep this crease here in the middle, because that's what makes heart, is this indentation in the top, this point at the base. And you can see, you know, on these, some of these, the point sort of does start to disappear, and the point really makes a lot of the shape. So as we extend these, it's called reducing, you'll see what I mean. Things can really change. So we're going to try to preserve this shape that we worked on as much as possible. Okay, I'm just sort of smoothing over fingerprints that I see. I'm not too worried about them at this point because we still have a lot of changing left to do. But just some few little finishing touches to help shape this up. And I think that heart is pretty much good to go. What do you think? Okay, so next you're gonna do your filler color. So this one is gonna be purple with white around it to create a circle, and then a pink wrap all the way around. So it's gonna be different than this one. So you'll take your white. If you have any color on your hands and you're going to a lighter color, or really any different color, you'll want to just clean that up. Clean that off of your hands. I think mine are okay. So I'm going to just cut this in the middle. Try not to be super stressed about the anything the white picks up, because the white always picks up something. And I'm just gonna try to blend it in and make it part of it. So we are going to do some filler with some white coils. So I'm gonna come back to that. So whatever your filler color is, you're gonna go ahead and make coils. So I just start with a ball in my hand, then rolling it back and forth. And the first, I need one that's pretty little, because that is going to go in that indentation at the top of the heart, in between those two half circles that we made. Okay, so here is a fairly small coil, and then I'm going to make it come to a point. So all I'm gonna do is just pinch all the way down from one side to the other. And just remember, it only has to be as long as this heart. So I'm gonna make that more of a triangular shape. It's like the Toblerone chocolate, that triangular shaped chocolate. And then you'll take that, just press it down into the clay, okay? Alrighty, so there's that. Now we're gonna make some little white coils to go around this. So you're using whatever color you have, of course. So let's say I'm gonna go to maybe like 1/8 of an inch. Let's see how long I need it to be. There's that. Make a couple of these. And I'm not trying to be extremely precise. I am trying to have fun. So some of these steps, I'm not sweating them because I'm just enjoying the process and I'm not trying to be perfect. So there's a couple, can lay on there. So we're gonna have a couple layers of coils here to help fill out the circle, and then just one layer up here. So you'll see what I mean. I'll make some more. And if you're having trouble making your coils even, start with more than one finger. So I'm working a lot of fingers, and just start at the middle and work my way out. Anywhere that feels thicker, you want to roll it. Anywhere that's thinner, you want to leave it alone. It's hard to do a coil that's extremely long, so chop it down when it gets too long. Don't let it get unruly on you. You want to make it no more of a challenge than it needs to be, right? So your first goal is just to have a whole wrap, a whole layer of white coils, or whatever your color is, of course. Doesn't have to be the same as mine. All the way around. That one's kind of thick, so I can stretch it out. If you haven't done a cane before, you're gonna be so impressed, maybe frustrated, because they can be hard, but once you get it, you're gonna be so impressed at what you can do. It blew my mind. I hope that this blows your mind. There's so much you can do with them. Okay, I'm gonna finish the rest of this and then I'll be back. Okay, so as you can see, I've almost made my way around the whole heart. So I've just got a few more left to place, and just wanted to show you that as I finish it up. You can always slide your coils into the little gaps, and again, you just want to get it as close to the heart as possible so that there are not any air bubbles in there. And if there are, it's okay. We're going to work on compressing it in a minute. So it looks like I need an uneven coil right there just to fill in that gap. So now I am filled all the way around. Can trim off any clay that's just kind of hanging out. And again, don't worry too much about the ends being perfect. I am trying to keep one side looking good so that I don't feel lost. But I'm just gonna go ahead and like compress these coils in, fill in gaps that I see here. And like if you have a little gap that you just feel like needs some clay, you can always just roll out something that you cut off an end, fill that in. But usually they'll just spread as you compress it. And I think I need another coil right here because we're trying to round this out. And so what I'm gonna do next, finish compressing this base go around. just want to make sure all these crevices are filled in, and I want to make sure that that heart still is there. We still got the heart going on. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm gonna try and fill out here to start to make a more circular form. So you can see, sort of have a stash of these coils. So it's pretty thick over there. So I'm just gonna add in here and here, here, just to start to round it out. So that was 3 coils. I can come on this side. 1, 2, 3. Start to round it out, and I'm just tapping them in. You can do other shapes than coils, but this is a good way to get started, right? Just got to start somewhere. So I've got to round out the top a little bit too. So I'm going to go on top of that indentation, trying to keep it straight from the front to the back. I'll do 1, 2, 3. I hope I don't run out. Ooh, that was too many. Definitely run out like that. Okay. Okay. So that's starting to get me there, but I will need to do some more. But it's coming along, definitely. Okay. I'm gonna thin one of these out. It's amazing how much they will stretch when you want them to, so that that tapers down. And this is, oop, messed that up. This is totally, you know, up to your discretion how much you do. You can do these in other shapes, but I'm gonna show a circle today. Squares are another really good shape to do, but we're gonna keep it in the round today for today's purposes. Another day we will do a square. Squares are fun. Circles are fun. All the shapes are fun. So I've almost got the top where I want it. And you really just have to watch your piece progress to see how much more you need to do. Okay, so definitely got to round out some more over here. So I'm going to add some on the sides. And it's really just working it till you feel like you have a circle. So I'm gonna keep working and then I'll be back. Okay, so I added about 1 million coils, and I'm just gonna add one last skinny one right here. So I'm gonna let you see that. It's pretty circular, right? I could probably add coils all day, but I'm going to let it go and I'm gonna compress this in. So you can see there's definitely no purple showing, and I'm just gonna compress. It might lengthen a little bit and it might distort. You can always tap the ends on your table, but I'm just gonna gently roll this to help compress before we add our outside wrap. So if you see where I'm going, inside color, filler color, and then I'm gonna wrap pink around the outside. Okay, so that's pretty good. You can compress this as much as you want, but you see it really did make circle, didn't it? So you can see how these beads are going to become circles. You might not be able to see right now how they're gonna get so small, but I promise you they will. So I'm gonna compress and then we'll wrap. Okay, so here we go. I've got this pretty well compressed and smoothed out, and now I'm gonna wrap it. So I chose pink, and of course you can roll it out with a roller or a marker, or if you have a pasta machine, that's definitely an easier way to go. So kudos to you guys that roll them out by hand. And you want it to be long enough and wide enough to cover this up. So I went ahead and checked, and this should be the right size. So it reminds me of sushi right now. I'm gonna go ahead and just take my longer cutter and give me a nice clean edge right here. So that is gonna go away. And then I will measure. And I need all this width. So I'm gonna keep as much as possible. If there's just a little bit of cracking on the side, it's okay. We'll make it work. And then get some clean ends. Okay, so I'm gonna start here at the bottom, and this is the widest setting on my pasta roller, so that's at a 7. And I'm gonna wrap all the way around. And just try and stay lined up. And then when I get to where it's going to overlap, I'll make me a line. Then I can come unwrap just a bit, cut, and then I can close in. And since this is stretchy, I can just fill in that gap. So you could wrap yours multiple times, and that would just make the line around the outside border, it just make it thicker. So, I mean, you can already see this, it's very Valentine's-y and very cute. And now this is where the magic happens. So I'm compressing. So that just means I'm squeezing with my fingers and I'm trying to do it fairly evenly. I don't want to compress in just one area. I want it to be equal. So I'm just starting to press it in, and then it's going to come out. So this is going to extend a lot. I'm not quite ready to roll it on the table. I want to do it by hand just a little bit to get it going. So again, make sure your space is clean. You want to have a good clean space to work. And the nice thing, this clay, it is all very nicely conditioned. So hopefully it's gonna stretch pretty evenly, because that's when, if our clay stretches unevenly, that's when our shape distorts. So you can start to see like it wants to stretch. It's getting longer just in my hands. And I can roll like this. The ends are gonna go kind of crazy. You can try and keep them even, but if they don't stay, mine don't, it's okay. Because you have this shape all the way through. That's what all this prep work was. So now mine's about the length of my hand. I can put it on my clean surface, start to roll. So you want even compression. Can use both hands. It's best if you can use this fleshy part of your hand. Same in ceramics when you're rolling a coil out of clay. If you can use this part of your hand, it's less bumpy than your fingers. You can try with your fingers if you need it for stability or support, but usually I roll with my hands because they are soft. So wherever you see it thicker, you want to work on that. The ends, they're gonna go nuts, it's fine. Just let it go. And how do you know when to stop? So you want to roll until you are happy with the width. So you can see on mine, they're a little bit different sizes, and I'm not a professional at this. I'm a beginner polymer clay artist, and I can use my background in ceramics to help me. But really, I'm so new at this, and it's just interesting. And so I'm not worried about doing it just right or having all my beads the same exact size. I'm just happy with the process, and I will wear what I make proudly because I'm proud and I had fun. And it just reminds me of a moment in time where I was creating and having fun making something that the world has never seen. So I'm feeling some thickness up here. I like the thickness down here, and I'm really interested to see what this looks like. But can you believe this is so long now? And I hope our heart is on the inside. One thing I should have mentioned is taking off rings is usually a good idea. I'm just avoiding using that part of my hand right now. So, I like this. Let's see what's going on. Okay. So, here we go. Now, I will say, you can cook it just like this, and you can cut it after it gets out of the oven. But I'm gonna make mine into beads, so I need to cut mine first. So, here we go. It's gonna cut in the middle. And what do we have? We have a little heart. It's gonna distort a little bit when you cut. The sharper your tool, the better. But you can always reshape. So here we go. See if I can get that over there. So I make my beads just a little bit thick because they always need a little bit of reshaping. This is definitely the fun part. Okay, so heart, we made that, didn't we? And I'm gonna show you how I do the hole, okay? So I reshape just a little bit, and now it's thick enough on the side. I can take my needle tool and push it through. So that's if you want your beads going on your string like this. If, reshape, if you want your beads going on your string this way, then of course you're going to do your hole like this. And that one can also use a little reshaping. And so you'll just keep cutting. And I think that that size is great, so I'm not going to reduce it anymore. If you want to make stud earrings out of these, you just wouldn't add the hole. You could bake it like this and cut it and then glue it onto your post. So that is the end of our polymer clay cane. Can't wait to see what you made. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I know you did an awesome job, and I am so glad that you came to try something new with me today. So I already have a bunch of beads here. This I'm going to cook like it is and then slice after it gets out of the oven, and that'll help preserve its shape. And you will bake yours according to the directions on your polymer clay packet. So great job. Please like and subscribe to my channel and send me a picture of what you made. I can't wait to see. Happy Valentine's Day. Bye.